Are we live right now, Mike?
Okay.
Oh, we're live right now. Hey, DC Nation. Here we go.
Once again.
We thought we weren't live, but we were live. Now we're live
right.
again.
We had a little snow on the microphone. Yeah.
So we're back here with Brian Pasch, back for another DC dealer cast, and we're going to talk about book. We got a book?
Yeah, a new book on automotive CDPs.
You gotta love that.
And Larry, you've been talking about CDPs and leading this kind of awareness of a new piece of technology that dealers need.
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, we all want, and I think we all want a list of our customers, right? That's what it comes down to. That's the CDP, UDP, whatever we're calling it these days. But now there's so much more data that we can bring into it from just the CRM DMS. Now it's CRM DMS, website, from the Pixel to the insurance data, phone calls,
connecting car data.
Yeah. So much data.
Everyone's talked about data for a long, long time. And
Yeah.
as Larry and I have been talking, what is that? It's an Excel spreadsheet, right? How many of those do we have? How do we condense them? How do we make them useful? And that's what the CDP, hopefully, and with the right one, will do, right?
That's right. That's right. And, for most dealers, they've built a business on answering leads. So
Yes.
they only think of data as a lead in the CRM. Give me more leads, I'll sell more cars.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about a third of their cars each month should be from existing customers. If that's the goal, third to 35%, how do I get there? Mm-hmm. It's knowing, do they still own the car? Do they still live there?
Right.
Are there other emails or phone numbers I could reach them at, right? And for the first time, dealers can now have a platform that can accept signals. And then, Larry, we were talking about this, is being able to deploy a message via text or email or direct mail, these micro audiences.
Right.
And you've been in advertising forever, and now your capabilities can be amplified because you can execute micro audiences.
Yes, you can segmentize it. Because people come into your site and they touch things. Those are your inventory. And if I can understand what you just touched, I can send you a message that's relevant and timely, right? So you can do that stuff. But Larry, yesterday we had a conversation with a guy from, where was he? He was Texas, right? San Antonio. And he said, Larry, as long as I've been in the car business, the only way I know how to sell more cars is to get more car salesmen. And Larry said, well, the force multiplier is the AI to do the meeting, not the pesky tasks that everyone has to do. How do you force multiply that? And with the AI and the CDP,
they're not going to get more salespeople. No. It's hard enough to get the ones we've got.
That's right.
So we've got to force multiply those salespeople with AI. But AI doesn't work. A lot of people think that if I take data and I plug it into AI, it's going to fix all my data.
Right.
No. It goes the other way. Clean data runs good AI.
That's so good, so good, Larry. And what dealers are going to realize is their agencies of record do a real good job with, give me a couple thousand people to push to Facebook or Google. But when you have 30 customers this week that were looking on your website for service, or 50 people who abandoned your trade tool, right? Those are more valuable than spray and pray. And with a dedicated AI agent, somebody who understands trade, somebody who understands service booking, somebody who understands payments, right?
Payments, right.
Then these micro audiences can be assigned to these AI agents.
Yeah.
Start the conversation, elevate it to the point where we can match them with a salesperson.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what we're finding with the micro audiences is more about the agent. It knows what questions to expect back from the customer, so it can better answer the customer.
That's right.
So it's got its own little sub-segment of answers that it can rely on, or library that it can go back and look, and it knows what questions it's probably going to get from a standpoint of
whether a big confusion for a lot of dealers is AI agent and then AI multiple agents, and how does that work? I think you explained it well yesterday, Larry, when you said each agent does a specific task, right? Specific job. And in order to get that right, you have to know, the guy making the AI has to know what the job is.
The existing service customers who didn't buy from the store. Yeah. It's 50% of every dealer's day. I've never seen a dealership less than 50%.
Right.
And here's a bunch of people that do business with you in service every single day that you've never sold a car to. One agent to talk to these people about their service experience and how that can work over into acquiring a trade, for resale or just selling them another car.
That's right.
And it takes someone that understands the business to create that.
So good.
From the beginning to the end. And it's very few of these that I come in contact with do. And if you're a dealer today and your ad guy isn't asking you the right questions about CDP or how much does it cost to get a physical up into your showroom or what your close ratio is, you're not working with the right folks today, right? And that's what they need today is people to guide them, but understand their business, can talk to them in their language.
$703 a car is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. We've got to get out of that. We've got to get back to the sub 500 a car advertising budget.
Right. And I think when dealers think about a CDP, they're trying to grasp, well, what is it like? And I want you to think about your stock portfolio, right?
Yes.
You save for retirement, maybe you have stocks or mutual funds, and you expect that portfolio to grow. Yeah. And you check on it, and maybe you have an advisor that's helping you make the right decisions. A CDP is really treating your customers like a portfolio. I'm going to organize them. I'm going to invest in keeping them up to date. I'm going to check in with them. I'm going to do things in an automated way to fill the gaps of human time crunch. But here's what dealers should be thinking about. What's my lifetime value? And grow it.
Yeah.
How many cars on average are people buying? And grow it. And when you do that, you become more profitable, more efficient. It's easier to sell an existing customer. Sure. I think the dealer's biggest problem is they never had a place that really had the state of their current customer. What's their preferred communication channel?
Right.
Hey, this person loves text. Well, send them text. Stop calling them.
Right.
You know, but
well,
they
now,
did it
now on the 27th, though, you've got to have that one-to-one consent.
Right.
If you're going to automate that text to that customer.
That's right.
And I think that's where the dealer's going to get that's where some of these guys are going to get in real trouble. If you don't have a CDP, exactly. Because if you don't have a CDP storing that one-to-one consent.
That's right.
And you can't show the government when they come in to fine you, and you hope it's just the government coming to fine you and not a class action lawsuit lawyer and service.
That's right.
That's worse.
And that will come.
Yeah, it will come. You just don't want to be that guy.
That's right. And the other thing to keep in mind is how many people are getting copies of your data. And this is another very hard thing.
They're everywhere.
So, with a CDP, instead of pushing Excel CSV files to 12 different vendors, you're just pushing an encrypted audience into Google, into Facebook, into OTT via Trade Desk.
Right.
And what does that mean? It means that you own your data, you control your data, and people, once you fire an agency, I mean, dealers don't think about it. They've effectively have a copy of my DMS somewhere in their building.
Right.
And they probably still have a pixel on your website, man, right? Think of all the guys that have, multiple. And the theftery, the thievery that's going on in the business today with people that know what they're doing, right?
Yep.
And the dealer doesn't even know it is on there because his GM made a decision and they never took it off.
Or the manufacturer made a
decision. It's just there
well,
when you get the website.
I'm working on an article. It's going to blow people's minds. You just hit all those things, but the truth is data is very valuable, and there are pixels on the dealer's website, and without the dealer's explicit consent, they're taking these audiences
100%.
Building an identity graph and selling them to other OEMs, to other competitors. And so the question is where does the in-mortgage shopper audience come from? Well, when you have 20,000 OEM websites, somebody's going to get caught. And the purpose of the article for me is just to force our dealer community. I don't know if NADA will do anything because they're not as aggressive as I would like to see, but the larger dealer groups have to say to each pixel company, I want you to sign a statement that you have complete confidence that
you're licensing my data.
Yeah, that you are not selling it, sharing it, whatever. Exactly. And you know what? That's going to start a whole ripple.
Yeah, for those guys that are doing it, they're the segmentizers, right? They know what they're doing with the data. They know what they're doing with it, and they're actually harvesting the dealer's money because he paid for that traffic, right? So it's fraud. It's fraud. I mean, that's a strong word, but
the early 2000s, I've had a data sharing agreement that I give the dealer, and I tell them, you don't sign this. I sign this. This is me licensing your data on your behalf, and this is my agreement. Yeah. And I thought everybody did.
No. Oh, no.
And I found out very recently, no, they don't.
I'm surprised. So what you just said about Excel spreadsheets, that is now the law. You can't send an email. You got to be encrypted or you get busted. So
there's so many reasons why dealers should be learning about CDPs. And the reason why I wrote this book, and it's not a thick book, it's 100 pages. Why?
Easy read.
I wanted to elevate the conversation on what's possible. And then working with companies like Larry and others to find the right fit. But it's not whether or not you can afford a CDP. I would say
you can't afford not to have one.
Not to. And whether you say, well, Brian, it has to go to ROI. I mean, you could easily have a 20x ROI, but it's even higher, but people wouldn't believe me. It's the cost of the CDP isn't the problem. It's the vision to own and control and activate your data.
I would tell you that your customer data is your second most valuable asset.
Other than your
right? Because I've seen dealers, I've known dealers get $3 to $5 million more in Blue Sky when they sold their dealership because they had their customer data in a way that they could give it to the next buyer.
That's right. Oh, 100%. I put something in the book because I asked Tom Moore from the Morgan Auto Group, he's the COO. I said, Tom, do you think your investment in a CDP, not that Morgan's selling, would you believe that you would get more money? He says, well, first of all, that's what I'd be selling. I'd be saying, look, you're buying this, but I have all my data organized, all my customers, and I'm expecting, he says, I would say I'm expecting a premium for that because you can activate now.
Absolutely.
Now.
I'm buying a business. I'm not buying, the land in the store's got value. But it's if I'm buying a business, but if I'm buying a business, I'm buying your customers really your name. And if you don't have it, then where does that put me?
That's right.
Having to do it all over again. And then what's really concerning to me is the manufacturers getting into that and telling dealers you have to use our CDP. Right, because you're not. I mean, the manufacturer is going to get the RDR data. They're going to get if they buy a new Mercedes, they're supposed to get that data. Yeah. If they buy a new Mazda, they're supposed to get that data. But if they're buying a used car, that ain't yours. That's mine. That's my inventory. I'm on the hook for that, right?
Right.
If I advertise to that customer and they come to my website and I get their data, that's mine. That is not your data.
Yeah, it's and this is the hard part is that I'm not sure who's going to do it, but I think there's a lot of loose data sharing on these audiences, and I don't know who's going to push it through, but there has to be a truth that emerges that either the OEM program managers or the OEMs or the agencies have to clearly say, hey, by the way, maybe I didn't really clear, but no, I'm just picking X OEM franchise, we manage your website, we pixel, and we use that data any way we want, including selling it to somebody else.
Right.
And until that happens, I think there's just...
But there are laws against that. I mean, customers got to know. Then customers have to know. And now you're getting down to one-to-one consent. And now I used to be in the early 2000s. I was probably the most outspoken person about how the DMS companies really locked down and hoarded the data. And I'll be my very good friend Bob Brockman was that one. He was in my crosshairs. Yeah.
Right.
You know, when I did go, right, and then when he bought the company, my first question to Bob is, hey, what is it with this data? This is not our data. This is the dealer's data. What are we doing? And his biggest concern was exactly what happened to CDK. With all these fingers getting into the system and something is bad happening. I mean, he's like, I'm not worried. It's not the data I'm concerned about. It's what people do with the data once it's outside of our control because they're coming back to us.
Yes. And, you know, these dealers, we had a incident, but we were at an NADA conference 3 years ago when they started talking about cybersecurity, and we went home and got on it right away. And it's an investment, but you have to make it. If you're working with your dealer's business, you have to have cybersecurity, and you have to know what it means. So it's going to be a big deal, I think, it already is. But you're going to see more guys get hacked.
Yeah, I think, as a roll-up conversation is, Larry, you've been in this industry a long time. you've been around data management a long time, data activation, and I think dealers need to work with somebody they trust who understands risk management, understands data management, data activation.
For sure.
Because it can't be some fintech company coming into automotive saying, oh,
we got you.
We got you.
No,
it doesn't really work like that. So make sure you're working with a trusted partner. And if you want to understand really the concepts associated with CDPs specific to automotive, you can just go to paschgroup.com, order a copy of the book, and it comes with a whole video series, because I know dealers don't like to read. It's the truth. As an author, so the book and the video series can help your team
it's a
just
pretty easy
understand the opportunities.
Right.
So thanks for having me on the
Well, thanks for coming down. We appreciate it. I mean, this is a very important topic to me particularly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Come on, thanks. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.
Theatercast out.
Peace out.